Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is going to be for Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. This is one that's kind of hard to classify genre-wise, and so what I did is I googled it and just stole the genres that they used and cut out about half of them that I didn't think applied. But anyway, so we've got, it's kind of science fiction, it's kind of like a horror fiction, it's kind of fantasy, kind of supernatural. They also had a soft science fiction, which I don't know what that is or why that's different than I'm not a science fiction reader, so like I don't understand the difference between hard science fiction and soft science fiction. Like I know what like a soft magic system is versus like a hard magic system, but I don't I know what the difference between high fantasy and low fantasy is, but I don't quite understand it with science fiction yet because I haven't read enough. But anyways, so this is the book that I will be reviewing. Before I jump into the body of my review here, I'd just quickly like to say that if you like what you're seeing from an Erudite adventure, we'd really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe, and we will continue on now. So as I like to do, I went into this book knowing basically nothing about it. I had heard that it was atmospheric, a bit creepy, and had something to do with the circus, but beyond that I really knew nothing. So I was excited to see what I thought, and at the time of reading it, or at the time of deciding to read it, I was wanting a read that was exactly that, a very atmospheric, kind of maybe a little bit creepy, possibly even a little bit of a circus vibe to a story, and so I was extremely excited when I read this, and that was exactly what I got. So I had high hopes for it going in, that it would be exactly what I wanted, and it was exactly what I wanted. After I finished it, I didn't exactly know what I thought, and I knew that I'd enjoyed it, but I wasn't really sure how much or what really to say about it. Honestly, that hasn't changed that much because, well, now it's been like 4 months since I read the book, which means that I've actually forgotten most of any thoughts that I may have accumulated and put together since I read the book and didn't know what to think about it, and now. So we'll see how this goes. I do have quite a few thoughts to go along with it. I didn't actually join in the buddy read because I'd already read the book like 2 weeks earlier at the time that they started it, but Owen Edwards on his Discord channel, he did this slow burn buddy read, as he's calling them, and he did Something Wicked This Way Comes, and so they take a block of chapters and they talk about that block of chapters. And so I did participate in that discussion a little bit. I would read through the discussion, and that actually helped me to formulate some thoughts as well. So that's kind of what the rest of this will be coming from. Even with that, I still, I don't have tons and tons of thoughts on the story itself. There's some, and if I were in discussion where I could sit and think about them and just get them to come out when they came out and then I could talk about them, then I would. But that's not what's going to happen here. I'm just going to kind of talk through what I have to talk through and what I wrote down. So really, because what I latched onto so much with this book was the writing and not the themes, the story, or the characters or anything else, I'll try and keep it to just talking about the writing or how the writing worked, affected things, because that's what I latched onto. Of course, there are things about the story and themes that I really liked and appreciated. The relationship between Will and Mr. Holloway, the relationship or friendship between Jim and Will, and really how their personalities and friendship interacted with the circus and various characters of the circus, including the carousel itself, and even the character of the town. So all of those things really fed into my enjoyment of the book, but so much of it worked because of the writing. The atmosphere, the description, the tone, all of it tied together to make the book work incredibly well for me. And I know that it doesn't work quite as well for some other people. I know Owen didn't quite enjoy it as much as I did. That's fine. People are welcome to have different opinions. It just, because it was exactly what I was looking for at the time, it worked really well. Talking with Owen Edwards and the group that he read this with about this book, they often mention things about how Bradbury would kind of overwrite the things as parts of the book. He made it a point to use a more flowery writing style, more purple prose that could then it made you visualize the world deeper, stronger, more, whatever you want to say, but it didn't do it as a compliment to the story that was being told. I didn't have an issue with it. This is one of the issues that I saw them bring up several times, was that there were times where the book felt like he was overwriting, or with it, where it felt like Bradbury was writing too much, too hard for what they were trying to say. And that's fine. People can have that opinion. I see what they're saying with it, and I do agree that that was there, but it didn't bother me. It actually helped me to enjoy the story more. And I am one that I've mentioned this several times before. I do like flowery writing. I like the description that allows you to envision and see the world. There's one last thing that I want to talk about, and I don't really know exactly if I can do this in a spoiler-free way. We will see, but I will give a potential spoiler warning anyways. So we're going to go on now, and so here's your potential spoiler warning. There's strong themes that come out, especially towards the end of this book, regarding the nature of evil. The ideas of grief feeding the darkness and laughter as a fuel to fight against the darkness. They're interesting, and I particularly like them, but I feel like, at least with the laughter side, it was not really as well executed as it needed to be for me to think it worked well with the story. I like the idea, I can see how it would work, but I feel like that it wasn't executed or explored quite as much as it needed to be here. And with that, it not only seems to kind of appear out of nowhere, but it also causes the story to conclude far too rapidly. There's no sense of falling action and resolution, it just ends. And if I had any complaint regarding the book, it is that. I still liked and enjoyed it, but I feel like the ending needed something just a little bit more than we got. So that's really all that I have to say about Something Wicked This Way Comes. I think with some discussion I could come up with some more thoughts and have more things to say about it, especially a spoiler discussion where I could actually talk through things and mention direct events that occurred, stuff like that. But there's a lot to really like in this book, and there's definitely some criticisms to be had. If you want to go or to have those criticisms, I don't really criticize the overwriting. That didn't bother me. What did bother me was just the kind of rapidity of the ending. Thank you guys for watching an Erudite adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. We have our social medias linked in the description down below. We will see you guys again soon. Stay warm.